It's been a long time coming. Chronologically, I can tell you this story quickly. We have two giant Siamese carp. That's our biggest one, the one that Wells recently beat. And that's the smaller one over there. We bought them together from Ray Chan of Amazing Fish in 2015. So that's been 9 years ago. They grew well first for us, and then like 5 or 6 years ago they just stopped growing. As some of you know, I made friends, or met a very nice peer, I should say, living in Cambodia, to whom these fish are native, and he keeps them. He knows a lot about them. This is the smaller one. They're both about 1.5 feet. Who's been teaching me about this fish, and in a nutshell he said that they should reach 3 feet or 1 meter in the 1 year, pretty much, in the first year, if you feed them correctly. So ours being 1.5 feet and 9 years old, that's pretty sad. Pretty sad keeping on my part. They're very shy, timid fish, so they don't compete very well for food. They're filter feeders, so they feed from the water column. They easily freak out, even without any grounds. Nervous, shy, and there's so much competition there has been in their tanks since they reached that 1.5 foot size that they never really fed appropriately, I believe. That's the reason behind their small size. They used to be in the 4,500 gallon tank for the first when they reached about 1.5 feet, which took probably about a year and a half, maybe 2. Then they spent about 3 years in the 4,500 gallon, so that's 5 years, and for the last 4 years they have been here in the 25,000 gallon, and they, as I said, as long as they were in the 4,500 and the 25, they'd never grown any. And Wells beat both of them several times, maybe 1 or 2 times each over the last couple of years. So my friend tells me that they need to be fed a lot. I mean, he feeds his like 10% of the body weight. He feeds his koi pellets, and they live in a huge natural pond. And he's got very big giant Siamese carp, up to 70 kilograms, which is 150 plus pounds. And he has a bunch of 100-pounders or so. So he knows what he's talking about. He's also working with the government, with the Conservation Commission in Cambodia, to study this fish and aid in their conservation. They're extinct in the wild, pretty much. They've been hunted to extinction. They are the species of the biggest growing carp in the world, and they routinely can reach 300-400 pounds. The champions, the oldest fish, they've been known to reach, at least reported, it's questionable, but they've been reported to reach 700, in excess of 700 pounds. So that's a huge fish. The biggest carp in the species in the world, a cyprinid in the world, I should say. Alright? So I'm gonna take him out. I have nothing else to put them into where they would be alone, and I would make sure they eat a lot and see if they're gonna grow some for me. So I'm gonna try and catch them out of this 45, out of the 25,000 gallon, and put them in a 240, at least for starters, and see if they take to this 100 times smaller tank, 240 versus 25,000, and we'll go from there. Okay, I can't film and catch at the same time, so I'm gonna cut it off, and then when I catch them I'm gonna show them to you, and we're gonna put them in the 240. They're kind of slow, shy, and not bright fish. So my plan is, the water's been cold. This is winter. The water is about 74 right now. I want to try and catch them from the outside. Usually I go inside with 2 nets, corner the fish and net them. If it comes to that, I can do that of course too, but I'm going to try and catch them with this long extended net that I got that can reach all the way to the opposite side of the aquarium. Okay, here they are. It took about 15 minutes to catch them. As I said, they're not very smart at evading the net. They're kind of slow too. Slow moving, bulky fish. They rely on the bulk not to be eaten. So I'm gonna put them in a 240, and there is one related fish that remains in here. Its former name is Katla carp, or also known as South Asian carp. That's widely aquacultured in India, for example. That also a filter feeder, but it's a little more aggressive, so I don't want it to be in a small tank with the Giant Siamese Carp, for the concern that it might stress them. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Superficially, it's quite similar to the Giant Siamese. I think it was transferred recently to a labeo genus, maybe. Somebody told me, I don't remember. I mean, I haven't checked this information yet, whether it's now a labeo Katla. It used to have its own genus, Katla. But Wes been telling me they're kind of more assertive. It's also bigger than both of those, not by much. Maybe close to 2 feet. So maybe 3, 4, maximum 5 inches longer than these 2 guys. But I'm gonna leave it in there for now anyway. So we're gonna take these 2 to the new home. Alright, let's get an exact measure on them before I put them in there. Well, actually I don't have to put it in the water, I can see. Well, might as well put it in the water. So yeah, I would say the big one is 17-18 inches. The smaller one has probably about a couple inches shorter, maybe 1 inch shorter. So to be conservative, we'll say 16 and 17. This is their new home. I'm gonna take out the pacu, of course. You can never have pacu with timid fish. Don't house them together. Pacu will bite them until they die. Sooner or later they will learn. I'm hoping the peacocks will not bother it, neither would the yellow jello catfish. So we're gonna go into this tank now. You know how I always want to give fish the biggest home possible. Come on, don't do that. Knocking out scales. You know how I want to give each fish the biggest home possible, and sometimes it works against me, like in this case. I was really trying to give them the most space, the biggest tank, but unfortunately they cannot compete with who they share their tanks with. So my plan for this tank is to feed them pellets extensively because nobody else eats pellets here. The peacocks stopped eating pellets after I wind them on to frozen fish. Neither does the yellow jello eats any pellets, so the pellets should be laying around for a long time for them to scoop them up and start growing, hopefully. Okay, right now is the time to take out the pacu.